Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a seriously fascinating journey. We're going to bridge deep French philosophy with the highly caffeinated, gritty reality of modern venture capital and Web3 hardware. It sounds like an impossible mix, I know, but the connection between how our minds evolve and how the computer chips sitting on your desk execute commands, it's literally going to change how you view the entire modern tech landscape. Let's get into it.
Here is our roadmap for today. We'll hit 1, the co-evolution of us, 2, the liquidator VC casino, 3, cultivating the 10-year vineyard, 4, architecting deterministic trust, and finally 5, securing true creator sovereignty. This is going to guide us all the way from the abstract psychology of how we think straight down to those deterministic logic gates.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, the co-evolution of us. To really figure out where innovation is heading, we've got to completely shatter a massive myth. You know the one, the lone genius innovator coding away in a dark garage. According to French philosopher Gilbert Simondon, innovation is absolutely not a solo act. He introduces us to this amazing concept called transindividuation. Basically, this is the idea that the individual subject, the I, isn't just a static starting point. Instead, we're constantly formed and reformed by the relations we establish with the collective, the we. It's a healthy, ongoing process where you and the group are continuously co-evolving together. This idea completely erases that old Cartesian notion that you're just an isolated subject cut off from the rest of the world. For Simondon, and later expanded on by thinkers like Bernard Stiegler, your internal psychic reality and your external collective reality are fundamentally unified. They're a package deal. So why does all this deep philosophy actually matter for a tech business? Well, to survive huge, disruptive paradigm shifts, organizations have to let these shared mental models evolve naturally. You literally cannot force true innovation. It demands a healthy, collaborative, and long-term collective environment.
And that brings us to Section 2, the liquidator VC casino. Because man, the current funding system violently clashes with this natural, collaborative human philosophy.
Just take a second to let this quote from our sources sink in. They don't really care if the horse is killed as long as there is one winning. Wow. That brutal analogy perfectly exposes the massive collateral damage caused by the modern venture capital power law. When you're stuck in a system that demands a single massive 100x return just to cover dozens of failures, the actual human beings doing the work, they become completely disposable. Our sources define this dominant funding paradigm as the liquidator VC model. And honestly, it operates exactly like an extractive Las Vegas casino. The whole focus is on rapid, totally unnatural scale just to inflate vanity metrics during these insanely short 2-year hype cycles. By treating founders like disposable lottery tickets, this system literally strip mines the individual and destroys the collective. It creates deep psychological and operational exhaustion. It is, for sure, a brutal way to build the future. And this brilliantly illustrates the core contrast we're seeing in the market right now. Are we going to keep strip mining the land for a quick, destructive payout in Vegas? Or are we meticulously planting seeds for a long-term yield? This alternative approach is called legitimacy VC, and it completely ditches the casino to function like a 10-year vineyard. It really asks you to think, what kind of environment are you actually building in? Let's explore that environment in Section 3, Cultivating the 10-Year Vineyard. Before we can plant anything in this vineyard, we have to acknowledge just how hostile the terrain really is. 250,000. That staggering number is the estimated amount of overlapping patents acting as a suffocating legal minefield on just a single modern smartphone. This kind of corporate capture crisis crushes independent creators before they even get off the starting line.
To actually survive this, Legitimacy VC acts less like a traditional bank and way more like a hands-on venture architecture lab. It shields creators from that massive patent threat by explicitly committing to a full 10-year horizon. This perfectly aligns with what researchers call kairos, or event time. It's recognizing that complex, world-changing tech simply cannot be rushed by a rigid ticking clock. You have to patiently weather the early seasons so the technology can take root sustainably. You have to nurture the mind instead of just burning it out in the casino.
But look, trust in this vineyard isn't just about good vibes and a solid handshake. While Legitimacy VC gives us the broad philosophy, a highly specialized subset called Providence VC gives us the actual mechanism. Providence VC acts like a strict clinical librarian. It relies entirely on hard, cryptographic evidence to archive undeniable truth, creating this unbreakable chain of title that protects the creator from extractive corporations. Moving right along to Section 4, Architecting Deterministic Trust. Let's see how this goes from macroeconomic theory directly into micro-computational execution. To entirely bypass the extractive casino, we need a flawless toolkit. Our sources highlight this massive, pragmatic upgrade called ERC 7827. Instead of forcing developers to learn alien blockchain languages, this standard lets them manage a simple JSON object directly on-chain. It introduces value version control, so think of it as a flawless, trackable history of every single mathematical state change, while still being totally accessible to everyday web developers. It's a real game changer.
Now, the architecture makes a strict pivot here to achieve incredible efficiency. It uses a LIFO, last in, first out data structure. Because the very last item to go in is always the first item to come out, you only ever need to query index 0 to get an immediate tamper-proof seal of the current state. This means you can completely bypass scanning through massive, expensive transaction histories. It's incredibly fast, it's cheap, and it is mathematically exact.
When you put all of this together, you get what the sources call the ultimate semiotic bridge. This charts the exact path from an abstract digital idea all the way down to physical reality. Step 1, the LIFO root hash securely anchors the data on-chain. Step 2, a protocol called Kali legally wraps the real-world entity. Step 3, actual human effort is verified via kernel sign. And finally, Step 4, that verified action trickles all the way down to a physical desktop device called Cheerbot, which triggers actual electrical signals through its metal pins. It's wild to think about.
Which takes us to our final section, Section 5, Securing True Creator Sovereignty.
So what's the ultimate outcome when this abstract, perfectly verified blockchain state finally crosses into the physical world? It results in this beautifully visceral concept, archiving the record of sweat. The system proves mathematically that real human effort took place. It fundamentally shifts intellectual property from easily exploitable license use to a protocol-enforced world of witness value. It guarantees that the actual creator is permanently rewarded for their sweat. No middleman needed. In this new era, VCs pivot to become agentic publishing houses that actually validate this digital work. But to maintain complete control, the human has to act as the sovereign pilot. We have to escape the bloated graphical user interfaces, what the sources hilariously call a fragile caveman interface, and instead use strict text pipelines, or command line interfaces, known as CLIs. By dictating human intent through pure text, we eliminate the probabilistic guesswork of AI and force the machine to act as a flawless deterministic scripter. We are literally reclaiming the hardware substrate entirely for the human pilot. We've traveled all the way from the philosophy of human collaboration straight down to the unyielding logic gates of computer hardware. And it leaves us with this final, highly provocative question. Are you going to gamble your sweat in the fast, extractive, disposable casino of the liquidator VC, or will you carefully plant your seeds in the mathematically sound compounding vineyard? Because the future of human innovation and whether true creator sovereignty actually survives depends entirely on your answer. Thanks so much for joining me on the Explainer today. Keep questioning the architecture around you, and as always, keep building.